Hello and welcome back once again to After the Credits. So, went and saw another movie today, like I said I was going to, and today I went and saw The Fifth Wave. It's down to a couple showings a day now, so I think they're getting ready to drop this one because, like I said in the last video, I think a lot of new stuff is getting ready to open in the next week or so they're starting to finally weed out some of the older ones, so it's time to get off my butt and actually start watching some of these if I want to do reviews on them. I've been given the blessing of an extra 2 months to see everything from January, but now they're starting to take it away, so I really got to speed these. So today I went and saw The Fifth Wave. As I said, it's down to just a couple showings for the day now, so that's why I chose to see that one instead of something else. Again, kind of going out of order of the list that I made a while back for the things as they open that I hadn't got a chance to see. But it was necessary because this one might not be around tomorrow. Never know. So what did I think of The Fifth Wave? It was decent until it got overly predictable. And overall, it's a nice survival, end of the world apocalypse type of movie. But yeah, as soon as a certain point happened, I kind of knew how it was going to end. Not that it actually ended, it kind of left one of those ambiguous endings, like they're leaving it open for a sequel, which it's based off of a book, so obviously there's more books in the series, so if this one did well enough, we might see the sequel to it, but I haven't heard much about this one, so I'm not sure how well it's doing to whether or not we're going to get the next in the series, or if it's just going to end and we never know how the story goes unless we read the books. So, getting into the movie, it opens with a girl narrating, and it's already in the middle of the apocalypse and everything's kind of already happened. She's going into this store for supplies, but she's kind of like looking over her shoulder, watching to make sure she's not being followed, no one's seeing her, all that kind of stuff. Basic survivalist type of stuff, post-apocalyptic, like I said. So she gets into the store, and there's another guy in there, and she's like, "Put your gun down," he's like, and finally he puts his gun down, and she's like, "Show me your other hand." He goes, "If I move my hand, I'm going to die, I'm holding my guts in." She's like, "Show me your other hand." He goes, "Fine, fine." And he starts to pull his hand out, and she sees something glitter, and she assumes it's another gun, so she reacts and shoots him. Turns out it wasn't a gun, it was a crucifix or something. Yeah, it was a crucifix. The light had just caught it, and then she's kind of narrating like, I miss who I used to be, back before all this happened, and then it goes into the narration, which goes into flashback, which tells how we got to where we are, and then she starts talking about, she used to be a normal high school student, and then, one day it hit the news that there was this giant spaceship-looking thing kind of orbiting the Earth. And then it goes into all the different waves of attack. Like, at first it just sat there for a few months not doing anything. And then the first wave hit, which was a giant EMP blast, which disabled all the computers, all the cars. Everything is no longer running. Which I'm not sure how an EMP blast takes out a combustion engine. I thought that was kind of the whole thing about older vehicles, is that they don't rely on electric. Well, I guess the starter's electric, but I seem to remember that being kind of like why Mad Max still works, is because even though there's no electricity, everything that's run off of fuel works. I mean, I guess you couldn't take a car too far. Like, if you turn it off, the alternator wouldn't be recharging the battery necessarily, so well, I don't know. I'm not really 100% sure on all the mechanics of an EMP. I know it can stop a car that's in the midst of running, but it shouldn't completely disable it. Also, there's still like trains and things, like steam trains. I don't think it'd be able to disable those. But yeah, so they're in the school and the EMP hits, and like all the lights go out in the classroom. The teacher's like, "Oh, don't worry, I'm sure it's just a power outage." But at the same time, it shows like everyone's phone died, or like tablets all died and stuff too. And it's like, yeah, those run on batteries. So no, this isn't just a power outage. That's definitely an EMP hit because it fried all the electronics. Again, with the cars, I guess it would depend on how new the car is, because a lot of cars require a computer to run now, compared to the older cars that didn't require computers to tell everything that's going on with the car. So that was the first wave of attack, and then everything was kind of settled for another couple months. You know, everyone's just out of power and kind of having to survive without technology and whatnot. And then the second wave hits, which was a massive worldwide earthquake that caused tidal waves and everything, and destroyed most of the big cities and wiped out a large number of the Earth's population. So then it was kind of diminished numbers and everyone kind of living in the wreckage the best they could, not really trying to rebuild because you never know what's going to happen next, I guess. So then a couple months goes by and then the third wave hits, which was a modified version of the avian flu, so all the birds started getting sick and dying, which spread into the people and resulted in a large number of the human population dying from the avian flu. Some people got it, and most people got it and died. Some people got it and recovered. A handful of people were immune to it altogether. So now you've cut the population down by another third. And then it just kind of settles again for a couple months. At this point, everyone starts leaving their homes and going to like refugee camps, trying to reassemble what's left of the world in kind of small groups and kind of pull together and trying to figure out a way to survive and fight off whatever's coming next. And then, while our main characters are in this refugee camp, a little bit of time goes by, and then suddenly the military shows up. And this is the point where I was kind of like, okay, I know where this is going because this is overly suspicious. And mainly because the military shows up and they have running vehicles. And of course the EMP blast knocked out all vehicles. And, you know, even someone kind of says, I think it was the main girl says, I thought the cars didn't work. And, you know, then one of the military guys is talking to one of the adults, I guess, who kind of questioned. He's like, well, this is our only working conveyance. But then they have like 7 of them. So, okay, so you managed to find 7 Hummers and school buses that still run, and you're going around rounding people up. Okay. So then the rounding up they were doing, they were putting the kids on the buses and taking them to the military base, and then they were keeping the adults at the camp. And the adults were like, well, what's going on? Why are we being kept here? And, you know, again, the guy's kind of like, you know, we don't know what's coming next. We only have a certain number of conveyances. We're trying to do it by priority. We figure getting the kids safe is the top priority because adults have a better chance of fending for themselves. So we're going to take the kids to the military base, then we're going to come back and pick up the adults and just kind of keep doing these rotations until we have everyone at the base. So the adults are kind of like, okay. And then the military ships off all the kids, and then they call the adults into this basically kind of a mess hall thing because it's at like a former summer camp. So it's got kind of bunks and tents and whatnot, or like mess hall and cabins and, you know, things like you would see at summer camp. So all the adults gather in the mess hall, and they're like, the 4th wave has started, and the 4th wave is that the aliens are populating the earth, and they can look like humans, or they use humans as hosts. They live inside them like a parasite. So we really can't tell the difference between humans and the aliens. Although we've had stronger detection in children than adults. That's why we're shipping the children off, because we have a way of checking them. But because our method of checking adults is a little bit more complicated, that's why we're keeping you here until we can weed everybody out. And of course there's kind of the one guy in the crowd who's like, screw this, I'm not an alien, you know, I want to see my kids, and he kind of rebels, and all the adults in the room get killed. So again, at this point, if you can't tell where the story is going, so then we go to see the kids at the base, and, you know, the other military people are like, you know, because we're able to detect in children, we figure you're our best shot at killing these things off. We're going to start training all you kids to be soldiers. You know, so then we'll send you out, and anyone who's infected, you know, you can take care of. And they kind of have these visors that can see the alien inside, because it's like a brain parasite, so you can see it inside of the heads. And they're like, we're trying to develop a mobile version of it. We're still working on it, but we think we're close. So then they spent a few months training all the kids to be soldiers. They developed the headgear. They sent them out into the world. And I'm not going to spoil the ending, but like I said, there's something fishy going on, and if you can't tell what it is already, then the one colonel guy, he tells one of the leaders of the children groups that the fifth wave is coming, and he thinks it's going to be the final wave because it'll possibly wipe out the rest of humanity. If for some reason it doesn't, then there might be a sixth wave, but he thinks this is going to be their end game, the aliens' end game play. And he says that they're going to lead attacks in all the remaining metropolitan cities and surrounding areas until everyone's eliminated. So he sends them out on field duty to take out as many alien scum as they can. And that's about as far as I'm going to tell you about the movie. Like I said, the ending was kind of predictable, but I mean, if you haven't guessed it already, then you don't watch enough movies, I guess. But basically, the fifth wave happens. And the most I'll tell you about the ending is it ends up with a cliffhanger. Basically, we kind of have a group that kind of breaks off and does like a rebellion thing. There's a reason why. Again, if you haven't figured it out, watch more movies, you'll figure it out. It was really predictable, at least for me. Like midway through the movie, I was like, yep, I know where this is going. So the band of rebels is kind of just sitting around a small campfire and, you know, try and discuss what they're going to do next, how they're going to go about what they're planning to do. And then it cuts back to the girl's narration, and it's just kind of like, yeah, so who knows what's going to come next, and then credits. So again, it leaves it very open. We don't have a resolution to the story. We don't know what happens with the aliens, none of that stuff, but they leave it open for a continuation. Whether or not we're going to get a continuation, who knows? Like I said, I haven't really heard much about this one as far as box office goes, but I would figure if they left it that open, either they thought it was going to do really good, or they've already secured a guaranteed sequel, which I have heard of franchises that are based on books doing that. It's like, if we do the first one, we want to do at least 2 additionals, or 1 additional. They usually guarantee at least 1 to 2 sequels. Yeah, so we'll probably see a sequel to this, although it might be like a direct-to-video type of thing if it doesn't do that well. But overall, like I said, other than the predictability, it wasn't bad. It was kind of your basic surviving the alien apocalypse type of thing, and yeah. As far as the star rating on this one, it's going to lose points because of how predictable the ending was. And really, that was the only thing that hurt it. Other than that, like, it all kind of played fairly decently until that point. As soon as it happened, it's just like, yeah, I know what's going on here. If they hadn't been so obvious about it. But then again, I don't know what age demographic the book is targeted at. It might have been ambiguous because it was meant for children. Yeah, but so as far as a star rating, I think this one's going to get I'm going to give it a 2.5 on this one. More or less just a middle-of-the-road movie. Like I said, it was decent for what it was. I just wish it hadn't been that predictable, and the predictability really hurt it. I kept waiting for a twist, like, oh no, I was wrong, but it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. So had there been a twist, it might have been higher just for that, but no. Yeah, so 2.5 on this one. If you like movies like that, check it out. I was just thinking it was similar to another movie that I can't really recall. like I said, it's sort of along the lines of like a Mad Max type of thing, but not really. I think I was going to compare it to The Host, which The Host in its own right wasn't that bad of a thing, except for Stephanie Miller was such a shitty writer that she didn't know how to flesh the story out to make it better than what it was. But this is definitely better than The Host, I'll give it that. Kind of along the lines of The Maze Runner. Like I said, I enjoyed The Maze Runner, except for there were issues with it. But, yeah, this is probably slightly more entertaining than The Maze Runner was. It didn't have so many stupid questions. It actually asked decent questions in this one. Yeah, so I almost feel like I should rate this higher than The Maze Runner, but The Maze Runner was so long ago I don't remember what I rated it. I know the sequel got a low rating because it was unnecessary. But yeah, you know, overall, it's along the lines of those types of movies, but like I said, it was fun to watch except for the predictability, so it is what it is. I gave it a 2.5. If it sounds interesting to you, then check it out. Other than that, I don't know what to tell you. So I'm going to try and see another movie again tomorrow, depending on how tired I am in the morning. I was kind of tired this morning. I'm surprised I made it through it. But yeah, most of the movies I want to see right now are fairly short. They're like an hour and a half, as opposed to like The Revenant and like Star Wars. They were like 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours long. Those are kind of pushing it when I just got off work and I'm tired and I gotta go I gotta wait like 3 hours to go see a movie and then sit through a 3-hour movie. That's a long day. If I get off work, I only have to wait 2 hours and sit through a 90-minute movie. Not so bad. So yeah, we'll see how I feel in the morning, but I'll probably go see something else. And I think there are going to be a couple more product placements coming up soon, so be on the lookout for those. But other than that, that is it for this episode. Again, as always, thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, rate, subscribe, and share the video. Links are up here somewhere or down there, hopefully. Like I said, I've been really lazy with that too. I just haven't had time to sit down and like type up. I want to type up like something I can just copy and paste into every description after I give the basic description, then have like a kind of like what other people do, you know, then they kind of list all their links and everything. I just haven't had time to sit down and type one up that I can save and copy and paste. Once I do, I'll probably be going back through all 400, 500-ish videos that I've done and kind of pasting them in. But yeah, I haven't done that yet. So again, like I said, thank you for watching. All those links are somewhere. Remember to like, comment, rate, subscribe, share the video, and until next time, we will see you after the credits.